Hello guys, this is Nick with PhoneArena and it's time for another smartphone camera comparison. Now we know that this device right here looks a lot like a point-and-shoot camera, but in reality it's also a smartphone, running Android 4.2 Jelly Bean for that matter. It is known as the Samsung Galaxy S4 Zoom, and as the name suggests, it offers real optical zoom capabilities. Up to 10 times optical zoom is the maximum magnification you can get out of this, which is very impressive for a device that can also make phone calls and send text messages. For those who are into numbers, the Samsung Galaxy S4 Zoom comes with a 16 megapixel backside illuminated sensor, and it also features a xenon flash and optical image stabilization. The smartphones that we've chosen to run against the Samsung Galaxy S4 Zoom are three of the best camera phones currently on the market. Here we have the Samsung Galaxy S4, which comes with a very capable 13 megapixel camera, the HTC One with its 4 megapixel or UltraPixel camera, as you might have also heard it being called, and of course the iPhone 5, which features an 8 megapixel camera. All these three smartphones have proven themselves in many tests to be well capable of taking great photos under a wide range of circumstances, but whether they're any better or inferior to the Samsung Galaxy S4 Zoom will become known once we're done with this extensive camera comparison. Modern smartphone cameras usually have no troubles capturing good photos in broad daylight. Naturally, the Samsung Galaxy S4 Zoom does a great job as well. Its daytime photos have lots of detail and their high resolution comes in handy if you want to crop or edit them. Colors in the images taken with the S4 Zoom are really close to reality. There is some extra saturation added in warmer tones, but the color boost is very slight, so it isn't disturbing at all. One of the best things about the S4 Zoom is that it exposes each scene properly and captures a very wide portion of the dynamics range, which is why there's detail even in shady areas. Surprisingly, the Samsung Galaxy S4 manages to pack even more detail in its daytime photos, even though it comes with a physically smaller sensor than the S4 Zoom. That is easy to notice once you zoom in on its photos. Its colors are very accurate as well, although again, we noticed a slight saturation boost in warmer tones. The exposure of its photos is accurate, but it can't quite perform as well in this category as the S4 Zoom whenever there are both very bright and very dark areas within the frame. The close-up photos, however, taken with the Galaxy S4 look outstanding with lots of detail captured in them. The iPhone 5 is, as always, capable of snapping very detailed photos that look nice even when zoomed at full size. In fact, we find them to be about as detailed as those taken with the Galaxy S4 Zoom. Colors in the iPhone 5 photos look nice in general, but their accuracy may vary depending on lighting conditions. Certain shots have an overall warmer tone, making colors look warmer than they are in real life. Similarly, the exposure and dynamics of its photos are great in some scenes, but leave something to be desired in others. The HTC One was more of an average performer during our testing. Its photos can't quite reach the detail level seen in photos by the other three smartphones, and that was a result we kind of expected given the low pixel count of its sensor. What's more is that the HTC One tries to make up for that by increasing the sharpness of its photos, but we think that the sharpening is overdone in many scenes. The HTC One also leaves room for improvement when it comes to exposing each scene properly, as it sometimes leaves the objects in the middle of the frame underexposed. At least the colors of its photos are very neutral, although the smartphone can't quite capture whites in detail. Low light and night photos are a bit tricky for smartphone cameras to capture due to the lack of a strong light source. But since the Samsung Galaxy S4 Zoom comes with a xenon flash, we thought that its indoor photos would be outstanding. Surprisingly, they weren't. On one hand, they are the most detailed and have the best color accuracy with the least amount of digital noise, but their clarity and brightness are underwhelming. Nevertheless, we'd pick the Samsung Galaxy S4 Zoom for low-light photography any day, especially with the great blur-free night photos that it takes. The Samsung Galaxy S4 doesn't lag far behind when it comes to low-light photography. Its photos are very detailed even in low light, but the smartphone sometimes has troubles with setting the white balance properly. Nevertheless, its night photos can look great as long as you have a steady hand. Its night shots will usually look even better with night mode enabled. The iPhone 5 is about as good as the Galaxy S4 when it comes to shooting in low light. Its indoor photos are clear and colorful, but quite noisy at the same time. We must note that the LED light manages to provide sufficient lighting when it's needed. And when shooting at night, The iPhone 5 usually manages to capture good-looking images even though it has no night mode or anything like that. The HTC One Lowlight Photos are definitely usable, but the color in them is artificial and its built-in LED flash isn't always enough to ensure adequate lighting. Its night images look awkward and are usually too bright around the sources of light, which appear as blobs of white light. Enabling the night mode on the smartphone doesn't seem to make any visible difference. Taking 1080p video at 30 frames per second is now something every high-end smartphone can do, including the Samsung Galaxy S4 Zoom, the Galaxy S4, the HTC One and the iPhone 5. And the quality of their video is very high in general, although some of these devices can do a better job at it than the others. The Samsung Galaxy S4 Zoom, for example, has excellent image stabilization, above average dynamics range, and very accurate color representation in its videos. Its nighttime footage looks great as well, despite the visible traces of digital noise in it. The sound, however, is mediocre at best, with no low frequencies whatsoever. The Samsung Galaxy S4 captures lots of detail in its video. Surprisingly, it even looks a bit more detailed than the footage captured with the S4 Zoom. Its sound is also better, although not the best we've ever heard. But the Galaxy S4 isn't our favorite handset for capturing video. The top spot goes to the iPhone 5, which captures detail-rich video that is very well stabilized. But while its video looks great, the sound in it is weak and muffled. The HTC One can't impress us with its video quality. Its footage is passable and very well stabilized, but often underexposed and with occasional focusing issues. It gets even worse at night when the HTC One videos are choppy to an unacceptable level. We must admit, however, that the HTC One has the best sound in its videos, since its advanced microphone can record low, mid and high frequencies in detail. So, in conclusion, to say that the Samsung Galaxy S4 Zoom has a good camera would be an understatement. But to crown it as the ultimate camera phone doesn't seem right either. On one hand, we can't deny the fact that the Samsung Galaxy S4 Zoom takes great photos and videos in all kinds of lighting conditions. That is especially true at night when having optical image stabilization truly makes a difference. Besides, its 10 times optical zoom lens often comes in handy, bringing the user closer to the action with minimum effort. But as our comparison demonstrates, the Galaxy S4 Zoom images are close in terms of quality to what one would expect out of a modern high-end smartphone. That places it in an odd position, a niche group of devices for photography enthusiasts and folks who are willing to carry around a bulky 200-gram piece of plastic in their pocket just to make sure that they'll take great shots no matter the circumstances. The Samsung Galaxy S4 showed us once again that it's among the best camera phones money can buy. It may lack the zooming and image stabilization capabilities of the S4 Zoom, but it is lighter and takes photos and videos that often look just as great, if not better given the right circumstances. That makes it more suitable for casual photographers who just want to point shoot and maybe share or apply a fancy effect every once in a while to their images. Same can be said about the iPhone 5, which definitely does not lag behind in terms of image and video quality. Apple's smartphone stands out with being as simple to use as it gets, yet capable of producing excellent photos under a wide range of lighting conditions. The HTC One takes good photos and videos overall, but leaves plenty of room for improvement. It is supposed to excel in low light conditions thanks to its UltraPixel camera, but it couldn't really do much to impress us during our testing. Don't get us wrong, as images taken with the HTC One are still more than usable, but more effort will be required on the maker's side to outpace the current leaders in the camera department. Thank you for watching our camera comparison between the Samsung Galaxy S4 Zoom, Galaxy S4, HTC One and iPhone 5. For more details and lots more photo samples from these 4 devices, just check out the camera comparison on our website phonearena.com.